Good Tuesday morning, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Chris Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. And what are those things? Well, we will talk about dry and mild transition tonight going into Thursday with light winds. And then, Tuesday night through Wednesday. And then breezy southwest winds develop Wednesday. Mild temperature return. Widespread beneficial rainfall late Thursday, Friday. Minor drought relief. And then warm and dry weekend follows frontal passage. That, and then also I'm still suffering from this cough still. Definitely has gotten better. Definitely not as bad as it was yesterday and the day before. But it is getting better. Now, what's going on in terms of the subscribers, likes, and if you've not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. Right now, we have around a good 4 people watching and 2 likes. Also, make sure that you go and hit the subscribe button if you're new. We are at 709, trying to get to 891 away from that main goal. Also, go and hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to, because it's free and you can change your mind at any time. And they can also change their mind if they want to. So let's go on now and take a look at our live radar. And right now, absolutely nothing. We are nice and dry right now throughout the entire state of South Carolina. But if we scroll and look at the entire U.S., we do in fact have some snowfall activity going on in Michigan, in New York. We also do have some rainfall going on over here in Chicago, over in Des Moines, over in like the St. Louis areas, and here in Kentucky, Tennessee, getting on some rainfall. Was over here inside of Kansas. Even if you look over here towards the west, rainfall, snowfall, all still going on right now as we speak over there in the west. Everybody else, dry for the most part. Now, if we go on and look at our cloud cover for the most part is actually staying on the mostly cloudy side. Yes, we do have some cloud cover, some clear spots, over there in the west, but it is still some clouds over there. And even if we go and look at our future cloud cover, we start off right here at 9 o'clock. You push this forward. We remain cloudy all the way throughout tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. I mean, it just stays cloudy all throughout tomorrow. We get into Thursday, still remains cloudy. Current temperatures right now, you have around a good 42 in Charleston, 38 in Summerville, as well as 42 in Beaufort, 44 Hilton Head Island, as well as a good 40 in Georgetown, 42 Murrells Inland, 43 in Myrtle Beach, 38 Conway, and 39 in Orangeburg, 41 Aiken in Columbia, as well as 40 in Sumter, 41 Florence, and 40 in Hartsfield, 39 in Bennettsville, as well as 40 in Lancaster, 39 in Rock Hill, York, Gaffney, 40 Greenville, Spartanburg, as well as 41 in Clemson, Anderson as well. Now, if we go on and look at our air quality, bit of an uptrend in terms of bad air quality. We have a little orange areas for unhealthy for sensitive groups over there near Greenwood, over there as well near over here near Greenville, over near Central Clemson, and then over also near Edgefield, Ridge Spring, Aiken, and then everybody else from Florence all the way over into Bishopville, Bethune, Jefferson, moving all the way down to the western low country, parts of the western Midlands, and a good amount of the upstate, Spartanburg included, has just a regular moderate. Everybody else that's in the white, though, or, not in any zones, are inside the good category, meaning that you indeed have no risk right now of any sort of air quality events. The yellow areas aren't that bad. The orange areas, unhealthy for sensitive groups. We're going to look at low temperatures tonight. Definitely a huge upgrade from what we've been seeing the past couple of nights. 37 in Greenville, 38 Spartanburg, as well as 37 in Rock Hill, 36 in Sharon, 34 in Dillon, 35 in Florence, as well as 38 in Myrtle Beach, 35 in Georgetown, as well as 36 in Moncks Corner, 41 in Charleston, as well as 35 in Walterboro, 43 Hilton Head Island, as well as a good 34 in Barnwell, 36 Aiken in Orangeburg, as well as 38 in Columbia. High temperatures for tomorrow. 59 Greenville, 60 Spartanburg, as well as Anderson, 59 in Rock Hill, 60 Lawrence, Winsboro, 61 in Newberry, 64 Columbia, and even 63 in Florence, 62 in Sumter, and 63 in Kingstree, 60 inside of Myrtle Beach, and 62 in Georgetown, Charleston, 63 Hilton Head Island, 64 Moncks Corner. So a lot of these areas getting up into the 60s tomorrow. So definitely, like I said, a huge upgrade from 40s and 50s being our high temperatures. Rainfall for the next 24 hours. There's a little like dot up there right along that South Carolina Georgia line, but that's about it. Everybody else, no precipitation accumulations are expected as we go throughout the next 24 hours or so. Crazy score for tonight, we're at an 18. We're at an 18. Why are we at an 18? Well, for the most part, it's going to be a little bit of a mild, maybe a little bit breezy, not too crazy, and very safe night for the most part, in terms of craziness. No freeze protection required, we'll also get, talk about how it will be still a little bit cool, but not really anything too crazy. And then also cloud cover. Cloud cover, I think, being the main concern, but, it's not major. Not major at all. SPC outlook for tonight. Thunderstorms are not expected tonight and tomorrow. But Thursday comes along, and thunderstorms are in the risk. Thursday, February the 26th, 2026. We do, in fact, have a risk for some thunderstorm activity. Now, what does this show? Well, for the most part, it just shows that, thunderstorm, more active conditions are definitely coming back as we go later into the week. And, we talked about that when we talked about what's on tap. And I said widespread beneficial rainfall late Thursday, Friday, minor drought relief. In terms of fire weather, nothing here, but excessive rainfall. Remember that risk that we had on Thursday for excessive rainfall? Yeah, it's now gone. No longer there anymore. They completely got rid of that marginal risk of excessive rainfall on Thursday. So we're back in the clear. No more flash flooding threat as we go into Thursday. So definitely a good thing to occur there. Definitely a good thing to occur. So let's go on and look at the models now. Well, time will be at the bottom part of your screen. Make sure that you're going on and paying attention to that, because that is definitely something that you want to go on and keep an eye on as we continue this forward. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. You go on and push this forward, and you can just see nice and dry conditions all throughout Wednesday, until we get into Wednesday around 5 o'clock p.m. You start to see 4 o'clock maybe even as well. You start to see some isolated to maybe a widely scattered shower activity going on inside the upstate, but nothing too crazy. Like, we're not really seeing widespread downpours. They're mainly just light shower activity as we go into Wednesday. And so even if we move all the way to 7 to 8 o'clock p.m., you're starting to see some rainfalls just kind of trickle its way through. Nothing too crazy for Wednesday as we go into Wednesday evening, Wednesday night. And then as we go into Thursday, like 12 o'clock in the morning, still, rainfall is not really a huge concern. As we get into around 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, going into 7 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, you start to see, again, just isolated to scattered shower activity as you go throughout the coastal areas, the Midland areas, PD, upstate, all these areas. Now, if we continue this all the way through to 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, going into 11 o'clock, 12 p.m. on Thursday, you really will start to see that uptick in terms of rainfall activity. And actually may start to see some more moderate activity as we move into Thursday. And even as you go into the afternoon time frame, going to the evening time frame, things definitely start to get more on the active side. So, Wednesday kind of like a little bit of an appetizer. Thursday comes along and things really start to kind of hit the fan a little bit. And with this, like I said, also comes a little bit of a thunderstorm threat. We go into lightning flash density. We could see thunderstorms, as early as Thursday at 9 o'clock in the morning. That goes on all the way through, Thursday afternoon, but I mainly see it inside of the upstate. Now, obviously, as it gets more and more into the future, probably will trickle down a little bit more into the low country, more into the southern Midland areas. But for right now, as far out as we can go, that being 7 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, really just shows that thunderstorm activity in the upstate, parts of the Midlands, and even parts of the PD areas as well. Doesn't really show any thunderstorm activity for Wednesday. So let's go on and look at the long-term future. Well, we're going to start off where we just ended off on. That was Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Go on and push this forward all the way through to 10 o'clock p.m. on Thursday. You start to see again that rainfall activity going on throughout throughout like the low country areas, throughout like the PD, Grand Strandish areas. You go all the way to 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And then as you go all the way to 4 o'clock in the morning Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning, you just start to see just heavy rainfall going on throughout a lot of these areas, especially being the low country, the Grand Strand, PD areas. And so as you move all the way to 1 o'clock p.m. Friday, going to 4 o'clock p.m. on Friday, things start to calm down. But it still will be pretty active. I think most of that rainfall threat will come, like I said, probably during like the late Thursday night time frame, early Friday time frame, and then after that, it kind of just brings some shower activity with it, but relatively light. Relatively light. You go on all the way to Friday, 1 o'clock or Saturday, 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's pretty much out of here by that time. In the Sunday as well, first day of March, and we're dry for the weekend. I said that when I was talking about what was on tap. We talked about how it was going to be drying up, but won't really last that long, especially because there will be some more shower activity that comes along going into midweek next week potentially, going all the way into the later parts of the week. Does seem to kind of calm down. Definitely not like a huge system. And then even if you want to push this forward all the way through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we get a lot. We get like way too far out Sunday. Not this week Sunday, or next week Sunday, but the week after next week Sunday is what we're looking at. And, this is way too far out, but does still show the setup here that I was talking about. Did push it back a little bit, I think. But one thing that I will say is that this system of severe weather here that we were looking at going to like that March 6th to March 10th time frame is still here. Even after all these days. So, like I said, it could still be gone by tomorrow, but it's still here right now. So, now that is pretty much out of the way, I do want to go in and look at our temperatures as well. We're going to start off here with the temperature anomalies. We're going to start off, this is 4 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. You push this forward, and you can see, kind of it just being more near normal as we get into like tomorrow, even as you go into Thursday. Things start to definitely ramp up. In fact, we may even be 10 to 15 degrees above average by the time we get into Thursday. And then as we get into Friday as well, things start to really just stay around 10 to 15 degrees above average. Then as you move on all the way to around Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Friday night, going into Saturday, the weekend, things start to kind of cool down, but we're still just near normal, if not a little bit above average, even as we move throughout the weekend. So, like I said, if there is some sort of like little minor cold front that moves its way through, or a little cold air mass that may try to move through, it's not really going to do too much in terms of our averages. Now, if we go on and look even further, all the way into March a little bit, the beginning part of March, we start to kind of see some more warmer air, definitely, 15, 20 degrees above average, but definitely we'll start to see a little bit of a decline in our temperatures as we go into like next week, the early part. So definitely watch out for that. And then, but like I said, main thing I'm looking at here is above normal temperature. So if you are a cold weather fan, probably not what you want to see. And we'll look at the direct temperatures in just a second. We start off here all the way at 4 o'clock in the morning, pushing this all the way into Wednesday. High temperatures being in the 50s and 60s. Thursday, and we start to get a bit into the 60s going into Friday as well. Things do seem to kind of drop a little bit as you go into Friday. But going into Saturday, things definitely start to uptrend a little bit, 60 for a good amount of us. Going into Sunday, and then we could potentially start seeing 70s as early as next week. That goes all the way through, and maybe even some 80s as well, potentially, as we go into like Tuesday of next week, Wednesday of next week, we'll see what happens there. But somewhere during that time frame, we could definitely see some 80s coming back. But I'm not seeing any freezing temperatures. I'm not seeing anything like that. If we go on and look at the ensembles going into the GEFS, we're going to look at the mean. And then we're going to start off here at like the 200-hour mark or so. Right here, Thursday of next week. You go on and push this forward. Temperatures back up into the 60s and 70s as you go in the next week. The week after that, just 70s. On the way back, even as we move into later parts of March. But cold air definitely will be trying to make a return as you go into like close to mid parts of March. So we'll see what happens there. Again, way too far out, 384 hours out. So things will change. But that's all I have to say there. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with Mr. Chris, he says, "Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day." Well, I did, for the most part, except for I've been coughing all day. But for the most part, it's been fine. Maya Lewis says, "I pray that everyone had a wonderful day." Mr. Chris says, "Currently at 43 degrees here in Moncks Corner, wind chill 35. And then he also says, "Please remember to go hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free, helps the channel grow, and get information out to those who need it." Maya Lewis says, "Our high today was 50 degrees. Mr. Chris says, "Also was still a bit windy, but not as bad. High temperature near 52. Maya Lewis says, "We also had some wind." Then Maya Lewis says, or not talking to me, actually. Let's continue our way down. Mr. Anthony says, "Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you." And then Thad says, "Good evening, gentlemen, the 360 Weather family. I trust all is well with everyone. Very nice day here inside of San Antonio. High of 73 degrees. Very nice, very warm." Maya Lewis says, "I can live with thunderstorms as long as it doesn't cause any damage." And then Thad says, "Really looking forward to the weather update for this weekend. It will certainly help us plan our outing with the family." Terrell says, "Greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. Cold day here." And then Maya Lewis says, "I'm not a cold weather fan. However, I'm not quite sure what you mean." He said, "I to be in the middle of spring and fall is my weather." I don't understand what you mean by that. If you go on and retype it. But then that's all that I can see in terms of the chat right here. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what are you talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and give them their weather forecast for them. Starting off with San Antonio first, low temperatures tonight around 53, high temperatures tomorrow around 88, low temperatures tomorrow night 57. It's going to be, for the most part, nice. Severe weather, excessive rainfall not expected at this time, so you don't have anything to really watch for there. Let me go on and check this out. Yeah, no severe weather, no excessive rainfall for you. And then for your future, I know you were talking about the weekend, but before we get into the weekend talk, Thursday, 91 is the forecasted high right now for Thursday. So, like I said, if you don't reach 90 tomorrow, you have another chance on Thursday. But like I said, no precipitation. You can definitely have your outing outside with the family. I mean, it's going to be highs of 85, lows of 60 on Saturday. Sunday, 87. Sunday night, 61. So definitely a great weekend to do so. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 38. High temperatures tomorrow at around 58. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 49. For your precipitation, nothing tonight or tomorrow. But tomorrow night, chance of rainfall tomorrow night. So make sure that you are prepared for that. 50% chance. That will go all the way into Thursday. Thursday night, 80% chance. And then as you go into the weekend, definitely a lot calmer. Temperatures will actually try to kind of stay a bit more normal until you get into like next weekend being Saturday, Sunday, with a high near 70 degrees. But it won't last long. You will go right back down in terms of temperatures. So, unfortunate. But it's what we're looking at right now. For Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight at 25. High temperatures tomorrow at 46. And low temperatures tomorrow night at 31. Snow is likely tonight. And snow is expected as you go into tomorrow. Now, tomorrow night, things start to calm down. But, this train of winter weather will go all the way through Friday, with another chance of freezing rain on Friday. So you will just continue to see that snow and freezing rain / sleet chance. Now, in terms of your, severe weather, excessive rainfall, that's not expected. But you definitely, like I said, will see temperatures kind of start to just stay normal. It will definitely go down as you go into Monday of next week. Highs near 32. So it definitely will go back down. And then for your rainfall, snowfall, you have another chance of snowfall next week. So things will just not stop there in terms of winter weather. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight at 47, high temperatures tomorrow at around, they changed this up significantly. Yeah, they really did change this up. Like, this was completely different from what it was an hour ago. But 47 as you go into tonight. Tomorrow around 78, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 48. So that's right, at least. Precipitation not expected. Severe weather, excessive rainfall. That's not either. You will continue to warm up as you go into this weekend. 83 on potentially Saturday, but for the most part, still staying in the 70s. But that's all I have to say here. So let's go on and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. That includes South Carolina and the areas that we just talked about, weather news-wise. Starting off, a Pacific storm will continue to bring moderate to heavy low elevation rainfall from northern California to western Washington and heavy snow to the Cascades and the Intermountain West over the next several days. Elevated to critical fire weather conditions will persist across the southern Rockies and the southern plains through Wednesday as gusty winds and dry conditions continue across the region. We will see some freezing conditions going on in Florida, Georgia, southern Georgia, that area. We already talked about the fire weather. Some high winds potentially over there in the Rockies. Yeah, I already talked about that for the most part. And for the most part, I don't really see anything else. Maybe some more snow up there in the Northeast and in the northern Great Lakes area. But that's about it. Let me see, is there anything else? Maybe some gusty winds in parts of Louisiana, very far southeastern Texas, and then over there near the Boot Hill, Missouri, and northeastern Arkansas. So that goes all the way through, pretty much just for tonight. So that's about to wrap itself up. So that's all that I have there. Top fans of the night for tonight. It is right now. Let me go in and check this out. Gonna have to do this manually again because YouTube is glitching out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, only 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then only ends at 7. So Mr. Grace at number 1 for tonight. Maya Lewis at number 2. And then we have Thad at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by here joining us at 9 o'clock p.m., being a subscriber of the channel, being here early, and being active. So make sure that you do all that if you want to be a part of the top fan. Let's go and give them a round of applause. That, and then also, I did not talk about my high temperatures. Let me go on and do that real quick. Well, right now, currently, it's 39 at my house, and then high temperatures for today. Oh my gosh, do not do this to me. There we go. High temperatures for today was around 50, so that's my conditions at my house today. That's it. I don't see anything else on the chat. Oh, Maya Lewis says, however, I am a spring and fall weather fan. Okay, I understand what you mean now. And that's all I can see, so I guess that is all for me tonight. I'll be here for like the next couple of minutes to see if anything else pops up, but for right now, I'm out. Make sure that you tune back in tomorrow morning for your Wednesday morning forecast update, tomorrow evening for your Wednesday evening, 9 o'clock. And we will be halfway through the week once we get through tomorrow, so just got to get through tomorrow and we'll be to the weekend. That, and then also hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the like button if you have not already. Right now we have around a good, 21 people watching and only 7 likes, so go ahead and do so. And then also hit the share button. I will be back tomorrow. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave.